Good evening. This is the Thursday, May 4th, 2023 South Haven Planning Commission meeting. I'll call the meeting to order. Luke, if you would call the roll, please.
Clark Gruber.
Here.
Larry Heinig.
Here.
Darrell Williams.
Here.
Michael Neese.
Here.
Amy Nichols.
Here.
Lijah Haney. George Sleeper. Janice Farney.
Here.
Tim Stegman.
Here. Next is item 3, approval of the meeting minutes from April 13th meeting.
Mr. Chairman, I move approval of the April 13 minutes as printed.
Support.
It's been moved and supported. Is there any other discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, meeting minutes are approved. Next up is public comment. Citizens in the audience may address the Planning Commission regarding items on the agenda for which there is no scheduled public hearing. Prior to that, I have my Planning Commission comment log that I will go through. May 2nd, Dan Agnello, topic short-term rental reform. April 28th, Dan Agnello, short-term rental reform. April 24th, Elaine Herbert, short-term rental reform. April 18th, Sandra Sutton, letter of thanks related to the preschool approval at 337 Hubbard. April 17th, Dan Agnello, Locker Center Street project, expressed support and concerns. April 17th, Brian O'Shea, Locker Center Street project, opposition to height. And I will add, at the close of our last meeting, I couldn't remember, there was something I was trying to remember, and I did remember it out the door that night. It was the social district, so maybe at the end of the meeting, you can just go over the dates on that again.
The dates that the social district is active?
Yes,
Oh.
because it'll be this fall.
Oh,
But that was the question I was trying to get to last time
okay.
around.
And Mr. Chairman, if we could jump back, we noticed that we did not approve the agenda.
Oh, we didn't,
We
did
did,
we?
we have a motion to approve the minutes, but we skipped
Yeah.
over
I think we did that using the force
Yeah.
here on May the 4th. Be with you. Yeah.
Okay, very good.
I'll make
So we can backtrack to that and then,
a motion to approve the agenda.
Support.
it's been moved and supported. Is there any other discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. We already had the approval of the meeting minutes. Now public comment for items on the agenda. Anybody in the audience wish to speak on items on the agenda? Seeing none, we'll move to unfinished business. We have none. Then the new business, item 5, 808 Monroe Boulevard, site plan review. Kelly?
Yes. The application for 808 Monroe is a site plan approval project for a deck on the waterfront yard at 808 Monroe Boulevard. There is an existing set of stairs that lead down the bluff, but the property owners are seeking to add a 13-foot by 16-foot deck midway down the bluff, and they're also planning to extend a 14-foot long section of stairs northeast toward the newly installed hot tub. You might recall that there was a special land use approval for a pool and a hot tub to be installed in the waterfront lot at this property. The reason this request is before you tonight is outlined in section 1724 of the zoning ordinance. This section states that a waterfront lot may have a stairway, walkway, or other recreational structure after review and approval of the site plan by the Planning Commission. And due to Planning Commission review requirement, this project also was required to be reviewed by the Harbor Commission first. The Harbor Commission did review this project at their regular April meeting and recommended approval as well. This is a relatively small project that's being undertaken. There's no major earthwork. Most of the site plan review criteria that we have in our ordinance are not applicable, but our zoning ordinance does not provide a mechanism for administrative approval of this project because of the waterfront lot. So we have a project representative with us tonight. If we want to hear from him to answer any questions, again, this is site plan approval, not a special land use request.
Okay, could you put up page 18 on the overhead? Who's the representative? Okay, would, please come up.
Forward, please.
State your name if you would.
Jeff Seagard.
Jeff.
Seagard Builders.
Okay. Thanks, Jeff. Anything you'd like to add?
No, just looking to finish up this project and get it done. The existing staircase that you can see over here that we removed was just not in the appropriate location from the existing home. So the new one made sense for us to add the new deck stairs coming up towards the hot tub.
Okay. Commissioners have any questions for Jeff?
So I think this original big, huge project came from Three Sisters Folly or something like this?
Correct.
And now it's Brenda Danick. Is that the same people?
It is, same person.
Okay.
Yep.
I remember the project.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember the project. Okay. And I did go by and look around the back. It looks like the project got started?
Did.
It did.
I wasn't aware that I needed a permit to do it because the stairs were already there. So.
That's the unique
that's
thing
exactly
about
why.
this too. It's like, there's already sections here and here, so
Right.
we understand that.
Yeah.
But.
Yep. Well,
I
I mean, obviously, I was
oh.
here early on. If I had known that, I would have done the same thing and asked for it at that point in time, and I wouldn't have had to do this
It's a
twice.
learning project.
Sure.
Take notes. But no, that's all good. I mean, we lifted the really big project before.
Right.
Anybody else? No? Thanks.
You bet.
Any questions for staff? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
make-
Chairman, I move the planning commission approve the site plan at 808 Monroe Boulevard with the following stipulations. Number one, the site plan shall satisfy all applicable local, county, state, and federal laws, rules, and regulations. Number two, the applicant shall comply with any requirements of the city's Department of Public Works, city engineer, or other officials. And number three, any earth-moving activities necessary to reshape the land consistent with the site plan shall be in compliance with the requirements of the Natural Resources Environmental Protection Act, PA 451 of 94, and shall minimize any soil erosion and sedimentation, alteration of protected sand dunes and other high-risk erosion areas and related natural features.
I'll second.
It's been moved and supported. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Next item is item 6, 711 North Shore Drive, special land use and a public hearing. Kelly, if you'd put page 32 up.
Okay. So this project at 711 North Shore Drive is a special land use permit request to install a 7-foot by 9-foot in-ground hot tub with a safety cover in the lakefront yard. The property received a special land use permit previously in 2014 to install an in-ground pool, and the hot tub will be installed within the same fenced-in area, meeting setback requirements to the south of the pool. There will also be some landscaping work completed once the hot tub has been installed. And similar requirement here, pools and hot tubs are usually approved administratively on residential lots, but because this is a waterfront lot, The request has to come before Planning Commission and therefore also Harbor Commission. Harbor Commission reviewed and approved this request as well at their regular April meeting. So we do need to conduct the public hearing, as you mentioned, Mr. Chair, and take action on the project. Mr. Seagard is also here representing this project.
Okay. Would you like to come back up? Have anything to add on this one?
Same thing. This one, I did the pool before. The new owners are looking to add a hot tub. There is an existing seawall that I put in when I built the residence. So everything that happens behind that seawall. So everything going forward lakeward is completely protected.
Okay. Anybody on the commission have any questions? No. Thank you. Any questions for staff? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion, or for public hearing.
Mr. Chairman, I move we open the public hearing for 711 North Shore Drive.
Support.
It's been moved and supported to open public hearing. Any other discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Public hearing's open. Anybody wish to talk to item 6?
Mary Hasley, 726 North Shore Drive. I was glad to hear that the retaining wall will be unaffected. I would just like that any motion approving it ensures that that does happen and that an erosion permit is required to ensure that if something does unexpectedly happen to the retention wall, it's addressed with an erosion permit requirement. Because that is a fairly steep grade, and once it starts going, it affects the neighbors, and we just want to be neighborly. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Yeah. The seawall that is in place right now is all steel piers. They're down 30 feet. The retaining wall that's there is 10 feet below grade. So the hot tub itself is only going in the ground 2.5 feet, maybe 3 tops. So there will be no risk whatsoever.
Okay. Anyone else? Seeing none, I entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
Mr. Chair, I move we close the public hearing.
It's been moved and supported to close the public hearing. Any other discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Next, I'll entertain a motion regarding 711.
Mr. Chairman, go ahead.
No, really, I like the way you do it.
I move that the Planning Commission approve the site plan and special land use request for 711 North Shore Drive with the following stipulations. Number 1, the special land use shall satisfy all applicable local, county, state, and federal laws, rules, and regulations. Number 2, the applicant shall comply with any requirements of the city's Department of Public Works, city engineer, or other city officials. Number 3, submittal of correspondence from the Van Buren County Drain Commission Office confirming compliance with Part 91 of the Natural Resources and Environmental Protection Act, PA 451 of 1994, as amended. Number 4, the site shall maintain all access barriers surrounding the pool in compliance with all state and local laws, rules, and regulations, specifically with the 2015 International Swimming Pool and Spa Code.
Support.
It's been moved and supported. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Public comment. Citizens in the audience may address the Planning Commission regarding items not on the agenda. Good evening.
Good evening. How are you? Grace Borg, 302 Michigan Avenue. It's been a long road, as you know. I'm just hoping that there's some chance that, as I've said in the past, that outdoor cooking and fire whatever you would like to call it, are two separate issues, seeing that maybe one of these could move along so we could do something this year. It's been well over a year, and I'm just begging you at this point. I don't know what else to do. So I'd appreciate if there's any movement to get something moved forward. I'd truly appreciate it. If there's anything I can do, let me know. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. We did mention that at our last meeting, didn't we?
Mary Hasley, 726 North Shore Drive. I had on the top of my agenda list is the status of the fire pit and outdoor, whatever, cooking area. I mean, the sub-team hasn't met since January. The January meeting was canceled. One member was gone in February. If the three-member panel cannot get together over a 4-month period, I think maybe new members are needed so that they can find a time to meet. I find it very concerning. Our residents have issues. It's been over a year. And more importantly, this is back because of unintended consequences of an ordinance unanimously recommended and passed by the Planning Commission and City Council, respectively. So I would encourage the chair to get this, to light a fire under this and get it started, to get it finished in a more timely manner. I was also wondering what is the status of the height ordinance. I could not make the meeting last month, but those are two key things that are are very important for our community, and it's very unfortunate that they are taking so long to get to the City Council. Last but definitely not least, it's something I've talked about before, but I do not believe in front of this commission, is the recodification. I have raised concern with the process. The process is supposed to make things more clear. It is, a recodification is to simplify what is already codified. It's not supposed to be amending the zoning ordinance. However, in review of some of the sections that have been proposed and discussed and drafts presented to the committee for review, there are substantive changes that should not be done during the recodification. Any substantive change should be brought with marked changes so that the residents, the community, the Planning Commission, and the City Council know what the changes are. Because one change that has been discussed, and we'll see what happens, but has been discussed, is that for uncodified uses, unclassified uses, sorry, it no longer goes to the ZBA. It initially was to the Planning Commission for a recommendation to the ZBA. Now it's just the Planning Commission, and the ZBA is who interprets our laws. The Planning Commission passes them, recommends them, City Council approves them, the ZBA interprets them. We need to keep that segregation and independence of our units of government so that we have clear, objective bodies reviewing how things should be interpreted from the bodies who pass them. I would encourage that track changes occur where there are substantive changes, and changing which body will approve something is a substantive change. I look forward to a much more transparent process. I do not believe that it has been transparent thus far. Yes, minutes are available, but we do not know what was discussed. And I do not believe that it's in the right interest for our residents and our community for the planning department to highlight what they believe should be identified. We should have a clear picture from the words in the four corners of the documents presented to us to know what was the plan, what was the original, and what is being proposed, and what are the differences, so that we can independently review them and make clear comments and know what is the effect. because we cannot afford continued unintended consequences from our ordinances being amended without a thorough evaluation and foresight. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Before we move on, Larry, you sit on that committee.
Yes.
Is there anything you'd like to add at this time, or?
I would add only that we agree with what has just been said, but it is necessary when you're looking at improving, well, let me back up. When you're looking at making something simpler and more understandable, in doing that, you have to suggest some changes. It's just part of what's going on there. And as far as I can tell, the only things that we have discussed to change relate to that part of our instructions.
Right.
Now, there certainly can be disagreement with that opinion of mine, but that's the way I see it.
And Kelly, when do you expect that committee's work will be done and we'll be able to look at it?
I can't remember off of the top of my head when I expect the work to be completed. We are working from a project timeline. I would have to look up the timeline to see many months into the future yet. And we've talked at previous meetings, I expect we've been trying to keep this group updated quarterly. I know that we'll be bringing forth an update at a future meeting. We'll let you know specifics on the timeline at that time. That document is available on the website. But as we've said before, no changes have been made to the zoning ordinance. Changes have been proposed. Anything that is changed will be discussed publicly. There will be public meetings, public process coming forward.
Okay. Very good. We have no unfinished business. New business is for discussion. Non-actionable is item 8, duties of the Harbor Commission, proposed ordinance, text amendments.
Yes. So this is an item that is brought tonight for your review, really at the request of the Harbor Commission. As we've seen tonight, there are lots of different types of projects that can occur on waterfront lots that require Planning Commission approval, and these all require Harbor Commission review and approval as well. And recently, members of the Harbor Commission have questioned whether reviewing projects like decks and hot tubs are a good use of their time and a good use of project applicant time. The Harbor Commission does have 4 site plan criteria that they use to evaluate projects that come before them, and they're pretty specific. They're looking at whether or not projects extend beyond city harbor lines, whether they will impede safe navigation, whether they will have an adverse effect on adjacent property owners' access to their property, and whether the proposed project will have an adverse effect on adjacent property owners' ability to develop properties. So that's some pretty specific review criteria that the Harbor Commission is tasked with using when they look at projects. So they want to continue to review projects that are in the waterways, as well as larger projects that could significantly impact the harbor. They are glad that other projects are being reviewed. They're happy to leave the land use review to the Planning Commission. And in order to address these concerns, staff has worked with the city's attorney to prepare some ordinance amendments that will provide some clarity to the types of projects that come before the Harbor Commission. And in addition, some of the waterfront lot regulations that are currently found in the Code of Ordinances would transfer into the zoning ordinances where they'll be more appropriately located. So the Harbor Commission reviewed the text that's in your packet this evening. They're not an ordinance-making body, as you know. They do make recommendations. So they recommended approval of this text. If this were code of ordinance text alone, it could go directly to city council. But with the zoning ordinance component, the planning commission is being asked to review. And so tonight, we're hoping that you all have had a chance to review the material ahead of time. We're looking for any input that you may have. And if you are satisfied, we can schedule a public hearing at an upcoming meeting. So really looking to just simplify some of these more minor projects for applicants and eliminate a step of the Harbor Commission review.
Okay, so for the 4 criteria that they look at, when you said the third and the fourth one has to do with adjacent property, it doesn't necessarily mean in the water, does it?
Not necessarily.
So my question would be, and I know when I sat on Harbor Commission, it was always kind of questionable, some of the approvals we had, or some of the projects we had to look at that were along the lake shore. And I view the river almost as a separate entity when it comes to Harbor Commission. So I could see some of this for the lake shore, but maybe development within so many feet of the water line in the river might be something they're more interested in. That way they still get to review it automatically. Otherwise I don't really understand what would trigger whether they'd look at it or they don't look at it with this.
Well, they had a hot tub or a deck. They had to look at both of those projects. So I can see.
I understand why they had to look at it right now, but I'm saying in the future with this, what would trigger it? And I think if you put within 50 feet of the shore, then yes, they have to look at it. But if there's nothing there, it's kind of arbitrary. Whoever decides they do or don't look at it.
I would say they just wouldn't look at a hot tub, but if somebody had a dock or a seawall, they would be involved.
Well, and we talked about this when I was on Harbor Commission, and the one example I remember was, what if somebody wanted to put an infinity pool right up to the edge, where the water drops off? Would they have to look at it or not?
You mean water into the river?
Yeah, out of a pool.
Oh, into the river?
Infinity pool.
Yeah, but I meant if up to the river, can they build to the river? I mean, that would be a planning commission thing, unless they go out into the river, into the navigational line. I mean, that's part of what they're looking at. I sat on Harbor Commission also, and I don't remember hot tubs and pools. And it seems like, we're having more of those now. And I just don't think, this poor individual had to go to 2 different committees for this project, and I don't think they should have been involved, the Harbor Commission. So I can see where you're going as the number of feet, but if we just take it away from them, unless, then it's down to waterfront structures that go into navigation, potential navigation. I think that's where they want to put all their effort and let more of the traditional planning and zoning handle the traditional planning and zoning. All the dry stuff. Like, we're going to get the dry stuff, they're going to get the wet stuff.
And what would the shoreline armoring be considered under this? Would they have to review it or not?
I think potentially that's something that we could ask them to review. It's a structure in the water, it would fall under similar structure in the water.
But what would, with the language here, what would trigger it where they would have to review it? Or is it just a choice?
Isn't the language here that the zoning administrator or the Harbor Commission, when requested by the zoning administrator, would review it? So we either need to try to write a detailed ordinance that covers every situation, or we need to authorize the zoning administrator to make that call.
Well, and they've also got plans of construction, expansion, or alteration of a dock piling, seawall.
Some things we have specified, yeah.
Yeah.
My question is that the mechanism, if we decide as a body, like something really needs to go back to Harbor Commission, are you the mechanism we have to kick it back?
Yes, we
Okay.
can do that.
Good.
I guess my question for staff in reading the packet, which was put together well, but I still don't have a sense of history on why the current ordinance exists as written now. What's the genesis, and if it changes, I don't understand. I guess I'm fishing to find out why it is the way it is now, and with the proposed change, is that going to leave any holes?
And you'd have to understand the genesis of the Harbor Commission, why it exists in the first place was because there really wasn't a lot of development on the river. And so it was formed to start looking at that, and I think some of the grant writing over the years, and it's, now that the river's been entirely developed, some of the use of the Harbor Commission's not entirely there anymore, I would think. Do you have anything else to add to that?
Not to that statement. I mean, would have to do some research to find all of the history of this section of the ordinance, but I can tell you that the genesis of this proposed amendment is that the Harbor Commission does not wish to review waterfront lot pools and decks.
But docks?
Decks.
Yes, docks, pilings, seawalls, structures in the water that could impede navigability of the channel
So
and
docks,
other significant development on the waterfront.
so docks would be included for the.
Docks are included
For the Harbor Commission.
for the Harbor Commission review, yes.
And I'd like just to go back to reiterate, if we take on that responsibility, understand that we can. Oh, maybe it's not on. Is it not on?
It's on.
I don't think it's on.
You're good.
No, I don't think it's on.
Use George's. Maybe that one's working.
So my point is, if we decide, is this on? It's
Yep.
not on.
That
It's,
one is.
that's
Oh,
on.
it's on, okay. So if we indeed decide to take on this responsibility, and I understand why, I just want to make sure that we have some standards to follow that are concrete, that we have some, I worry about us making decisions that we don't understand the implications of going down the road.
Okay.
So
So I think what I should clarify that there is, at this time, no duty that is being eliminated from the Planning Commission. The Planning Commission at this time will continue to review these projects, and the Harbor Commission will continue to review the projects in the water. It's just that the Harbor Commission would no longer review a pool proposal on a waterfront lot on Lake Michigan, and they wouldn't review a bluff deck on a Lake Michigan lot, or even a riverfront lot. If there was a deck proposed to be built on the waterfront lot, they would no longer review that plan.
Let me try
But
mine
the
again.
Planning Commission duties in terms of the review aren't changing at this time.
It's just the input to us would change. There'd be some things that wouldn't be reviewed by the Harbor Commission that currently are. Hot tubs.
Yes.
A good example would both of those projects tonight
Sure.
would not have gone to the Harbor Commission, but still come here.
And I suppose you would need to decide, is there a review from the Harbor Commission that's valuable enough on those types of projects that you don't want to lose it? And what the Harbor Commission is suggesting is that they don't feel that they want to continue to do it. They don't see the value of that commission continuing
Sure.
to provide that review.
And that's what I was trying to fish for here, Kelly, is I understand that's their current position, but at some point in the past, they did readily accept this responsibility, or there's a reason for it. And Tim, you helped me understand a little bit. The context has changed. But I just want to make sure that there's not a hole left now. Because I also agree, Jan, that I don't certainly have the expertise on the harbor, and maybe Tim does. But are we missing that little piece of expertise? I don't know.
And then that's where I looked, and I've served on both. I don't see it. I haven't seen one of those projects that have come before us, for just like tonight. But they're still doing docks and pilings and seawalls and marinas and anything where it's wet. It's just that there's some of these things like, just happens to have a pool waterside. It needs to be reviewed by the Harbor Commission. But it's all going to be here. And I guess
It
what
all
we're
ends
saying
up
too
here.
is if we felt like, we want to have the Harbor Commission, we can always, I think that would be great if we could have that ability as well, but I can't think of those.
And again, I don't have a beef with any position here. It's I am reluctant in general to remove any checks and balances. And if the Harbor Commission provided an effective checks and balances on some projects, then I would think we'd want their input on it. But I get it. I get a hot tub is not the same as a dock.
Yeah, but I think they're looking at the pieces that they feel like they don't provide any value because it doesn't really go into the purview. It was just handed to them.
How is membership on the Harbor Commission? Is it full?
It's not full now, and there has been some difficulty in obtaining quorum for the meetings.
So maybe part of the question too would be to revisit the necessity of the Harbor Commission.
I would say that's probably outside the scope of this body.
No, I realize that, but I know when I was in the Harbor Commission, we had talked about that because there were very few projects that were coming, and we talked about disbanding it. So that might be a question again. What is the necessity? Why do we have to have it?
I think it's a speciality and a niche.
It is a niche, but is it?
And they had quite a few projects, I think, last year, when you look at some of the
Yeah.
seawalls and projects along the river.
But if we can't fill the board and anything they look at comes here anyway, I don't know, just thinking out loud. All right, any more questions for Kelly? No?
Yeah, Kelly, who makes decisions about the erosion on the bluffs, and also the how far you can build toward the bluff? Who makes those decisions? Is that part, I mean, we will ultimately, I think, make those decisions, but how about, critical dunes and people putting pools or decks or hot tubs near that? Where will that expertise come for us so we can make those decisions?
So the zoning ordinance right now does have an overlay for the high-risk erosion dune areas, and we will keep that overlay even as we move forward with recodification. We've talked some about that topic as a part of our grant application, our shoreline grant application that we're waiting to hear later this summer, whether or not we've been funded to do some of that shoreline protection work. So those are topics that we plan to address going forward. We know that some of those shoreline protection types of questions are not well answered in the zoning ordinance that we have now. We do have setbacks that address building on any lot, but probably some of those types of environmental protection questions are not, probably the answers you're looking for aren't in the document that we have now.
So I'm assuming that that's something we need to work on.
I think that we will be working on that as we move forward.
Thank you.
Okay, anybody else? No? Anybody in the audience wish to speak?
Thank you, Chairman. Mary Hasley, 726 North Shore Drive. I'll keep this short. If you wanted something objective, you could use the high water mark. So if it's below it, then it would go to the Harbor Commission. If it's above it, which most of these I think were, it would not. I think they're most involved with where it's near the water, and that would apply to the lake, which I think is the ones that went there and probably did not need to go there. Thank you.
Very good, thank you. Good suggestion. Okay. Well, anything else, Kelly? Do you have enough direction from us? I know it's kind of nebulous, but that is some feedback.
It is some feedback. I guess, are there specific changes that you think you're looking for right now? Should we schedule the public hearing? Are you looking for some additional data that you'd like to see before we move forward on this? I hate to schedule a public hearing if there's really more information that is being sought.
I don't see what additional information we would need.
Maybe some additional language, though.
If you're specifically concerned about reviewing revetment structures, for example, that's something that we can add. But if there's something else that you're looking for,
Wouldn't
I'd
that
like
be
to know what
included
that
in
is.
pilings and seawalls?
well, piling is really different. For me, it falls under or similar structure, but if we want to provide that clarity by calling out revetments, then we can certainly do that.
Is seawall defined in the glossary?
That's a good question.
Maybe you could pick it up there.
Yeah.
It sounds like we have a little bit more work to do before we're ready to schedule a public hearing.
Okay, we can work on that
Okay,
again next time, right?
okay.
Okay, any staff comments?
I will check the mics next time. Sorry about that, Janice. I had no idea.
I guess I would mention that staff is continuing to work with the development team for the Locker Center Street redevelopment project, and we do anticipate that coming back in front of you this summer. I know we'll continue to see some zoning text amendments, some additional site plan review type projects next month. We do have a special meeting on May 18th to review a site plan amendment for Spencer Manufacturing, so please keep that on your calendars
What time?
at 5 o'clock. And it looks like the social district is in operation from October 1st until May 18th.
And is that sunsetted? Is that a one-year trial, or is that indefinite unless it's repealed?
I don't know the answer to that. I'll have to find out.
Okay. Was there anything else?
Not from me.
Maybe a couple things we could hit on our ad hoc committees. So who's on the fire pit one? Mike? Lige,
and
and
Clark.
Clark.
Yes.
And that's been delayed primarily to my own workload. So over this past month, I had some personal items that I was dealing with outside the office, and I was not able to get the group together. So,
Okay.
thank you.
Are we scheduling any meeting coming up this summer, or,
I think we'll be able to do that.
okay?
If I may, my perception, and Clark, check me on this, but I think we're pretty darn close. We've got most of the text worked out. I think I was looking for our next meeting to be a fairly short meeting, because I think we've gone through most of the hurdles. As I recall, Clark, we were pretty well wrapped up on that.
We were getting really ramped up on that. We just haven't met, and because of, a lot of other things. But yeah, we'd like to get that wrapped up.
Absolutely.
Okay. And then the other one was that question about the height. We had a split vote. I think we're just planning on bringing it back as is, and
Yes,
if
we
we had a
just,
full board, it's probably going to be by one way or the other, right?
yep, need to schedule the public hearing. Need to
Public
have
hearing.
enough time to notice that hearing.
Right. I don't think we're doing any more changes to it. I think this group is kind of set in stone. It just depends on the odd man out, right? Okay. All right, where'd we start last time? I'll go to my left, Clark.
I guess a couple things. Been getting quite a few of those STR emails. Are they sending them to other bodies that can actually create some action for us? Because we don't have anything actionable in front of us. So hopefully that's making it to others who can work on that. And then I guess, seeing, because you brought it up, the social district this year would only encompass the last 3 days of Oktoberfest. And I'm not sure if that's important, but it's a fact. That's it.
Okay.
I have no comments other than my apologies for not making the last meeting, and screwing up the vote, so my apologies.
The only thing that I wanted to say is, Kelly, thanks so much for our time on this afternoon and for getting me on the path that I needed to be on with some of my questions. So grateful.
Just thanks to the staff again, thanks to my fellow commissioners. Good meeting.
No comment?
I think everybody's already covered everything.
Easy to do on a small agenda. All right, I think that's it. Motion?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Support.
It's been moved and supported to adjourn. Any other discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, the motion carries. Meeting is adjourned.